Hello, and welcome back to another weekly roundup. This is where we talk about this week in pop culture. So let's get straight into it, and we're gonna keep it short and sweet this week, okay? First things first, Drew Barrymore. Wow, wow, mama. If you haven't heard, she has decided to resume her show without her writers. And in case you've been living under a rock, there's a writer's strike happening. So to resume a show that depends on WGA writers, and WGA is on a strike, it's kind of slapped in the face. Some of her writers apparently were picketing outside, as they should. And she then went to release a few statements that she should have just kept. As I always say, you can always just say nothing. That's always an option. However, her PR and her right mind failed her. The first statement was iOS press release adjacent, and where she said she's making the best decision for herself and her team. What team? Who knows? The crew, I think, specifically was the were the words that she used. And then she released a video, both of which are taken down now. And she put on that Drew Barrymore sad, sweet woman face, that I just want to be your friend and I just want to hug you face, and the voice as well. And she really thought she was going to get people with that, and she didn't. Therefore, like I said, both the iOS press release and the video are taken down now. Who knows if a PR person finally stepped in, because she claimed to not be working with a PR firm. So who knows if a PR person finally stepped in and was like, hey, listen to us now, the professionals. As far as we know, the show is going to continue. She's not the only show coming back. She's just the only show continuing to try and make excuses for coming back. I think The Talk is also a talk show that's coming back that relies on WGA writers, and they are pressing forward without the writers. Again, a slap in the face. And there's one more that I can't think of off the top of my head now. From what I understand, shows like Kelly and Mark is her husband. So Kelly Ripa and Mark, I almost called him Mark Ripa, but that's not his name. They do not use writers. Sherry Shepard does not use writers. So they're coming back, and that's not going against the strike. So I'm sure there will be more to come. Hopefully they get the strike settled out soon, because it's been a long time. Okay? It's been a long time. And pay the people what they deserve. My goodness. Getting into some Bravo. Real Housewives of New York filmed their reunion this week. And the seating chart came out, and I remembered to screenshot it for us here to talk about. And everybody was kind of up in arms about it. And I'm going to be honest with you guys, I don't see the issue, but I'll read it to you. Okay, we have Andy in the middle. We have Jessel, then we have Brynn next to Jessel, and then Uba next to Brynn. On the other side, we have Aaron next to Andy, then Jenna Lyons next to Aaron, and then Cy on the end next to Jenna Lyons. So the two people by Andy are Jessel and Aaron. And the internet was very much like, what the hell, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if anybody has listened to Andy as much as I have, but Andy has said before, the seating chart is made based on who was in the most conflict this season. And while the ladies do seem to be ganging up on Jenna right now, this does kind of seem to be the only conflict that she is in, right? Yes, she had Jessel, who didn't like her gift at the beginning of the season, but she didn't really say anything about that. The other ladies did. So it makes sense that Jessel and Aaron are on each side of Andy. Again, it's not who we like the most. It's not who's the most popular. On the other side, it's who's in the most conflict. And it makes sense that Jessel and Aaron are on each side of him. I see no problem with that. We all love Jenna Lyons. I love Jenna Lyons, but she doesn't get a seat next to Andy. Let's just be very clear, per the rules. I hope that it's a good first reunion. I said this talking to one of my friends. Here's my only thing that is kind of gonna maybe, I don't want to say irritate me, because people are very sensitive to when they talk about this new Roni. Because if you say anything like, oh, you know, XYZ, they're like, see, this is why we need the old woman back. No, it's not what I'm saying. The only thing for me about the mainly Jenna Lyons of it all is that we don't seem to have anybody that's quite going to, how should I say, get in their asses like they should over the way they were treating Jenna, right? So if you think about it like this, if this were the old Roni, probably Bethany would say something to like a Ramona if Ramona treated another person on the cast like this, or anybody in general. She would tell her like, cut the shit. In Bethany's words, you're a 56-year-old woman, or whatever she yelled at her at that one reunion. Jenna's not gonna do it, but we need somebody who will be like, no, y'all were being rude. Y'all were picking on her. Y'all were saying X, Y, Z, things like that. Jenna's not going to do it. She seems to, be a little bit of an avoidant person. I don't know if Uba will that much. Who knows? I'm excited. I like this new cast. I want everybody to come back next season because I do not believe in one season housewives. Okay, y'all should know that by now. But I do want to add another person who can really get in there and, do some yelling. I need to see some heightened voices. Okay? But besides that, I think the streets are saying we only have 4 or 5 episodes left of Roni. So we shall see. Okay, and the last thing we're going to touch on for this weekly roundup is all these damn celebrity divorces that are happening. We got a 2-for-1 yesterday. If you've been living under a rock for the past 24 hours, which some people have, Hugh Jackman and his wife, Deborah, announced their divorce after 27 years of marriage. 27! 27. That's wild. And then on a less shocking scale, Jeannie Mai and Jeezy are getting divorced. I don't think anybody was shocked about that, right? We'll get to them in a second. There are no real details on Hugh Jackman and his wife getting divorced. I think the quote was, we have spent almost 3 decades together and now our journeys are going on separate ways. Very cute and short to the point, right? We love that for them. They're not one of those couples that you spoke about often, that were often in the headlines or anything like that. We really just saw them on red carpets. So it's one of those things that's kind of out of nowhere. Some people have just said, like, after 30 years, you just realize sometimes you don't want to be together anymore. I feel like I would just move out of the home and then skip all of the paperwork and be like, you can go do whatever you want. But 27 years of marriage and assets sounds like a lot of paperwork, a lot of billed lawyer time. That's what that sounds like to me. Well, I hope the best for both of them. Jeannie Mai and Jeezy. Not a lot of details surrounding what happened with them either. Just, again, not something that I'm shocked about. The day before they announced their split, I'm not sure when he filed exactly, but the day before the split was announced, Jeezy did post a carousel of photos of himself in front of a car on Instagram with the caption, too focused on who I'm becoming to focus on who's not coming with me. I'm sorry, that's a really crazy caption for a man that just filed for divorce from his wife. I would be so irritated. If that was the caption my husband, soon-to-be ex-husband, put up on Instagram as soon as the streets found out he filed for divorce from me. Of course, everybody's pulling up her previous comments on the reel? Yeah, that she had made about dating. The most popular one being, for me, dark meat on the side, white meat as the main course, keeps you lean and mean. Speaking of dating preferences when it comes to race, so she said she preferred to keep black men on the side and then seriously date and marry white men. At the time, she was married to a white man. So it was just, she getting dragged a little bit now online. I don't know why she would say that. I say a lot of shit that makes me take pause. That's gonna be it's gonna be hard for her to live down. It's gonna be hard for her to live down. I mean, the clip resurfaces like once a year at least. Once a year it resurfaces, and I don't know. But we'll see who's next to come. I hope not anybody. I mean, I hate to see relationships break up. You know what I mean? It's ultimately a sad thing, but the way this year is shaping up, my good God. My good God. That's gonna be it for the weekly roundup this week. We didn't have too much. If you want to hear me go into depth about the shows that we watched this week, so mainly Bravo shows, you can head over to my podcast and listen there, the Who Asked Me podcast. It's on Spotify, Apple, all the things. If you want to get a little bit extra content, you can head over to my TikTok, Who Asked Zell, where I'm getting into all my little random thoughts over there, okay? Let me know in the comments if there are any topics that you want to see for the weekly roundup as the next week progresses, and I absolutely will make sure to touch on them. Bye!